Hi everyone! With permission of the author, one of our students, Monique Swart, wrote a very good answer to the question that we looked at, how to conduct a formal analysis of this artwork. I would like to read to you her answer as it can serve as an example so you can know how you could possibly approach this type of question. As I mentioned, this type of question is asked frequently, and it is a very important practice to adopt and to learn. It's very important for your future to be able to articulate your own work, as we have already discussed. You'll see in her answer that she begins with what she sees at face value. What is the painting about? And if it was a sculpture, you had to mention this is a sculpture. So begin with it is a painting. You know, what medium, if you do know what the medium is that it's made of, etc. And then she goes on to provide her first impression. What was most striking to her of the painting? What was the thing that she saw first? And to her, what was striking was that pink dress. And then she goes on and discusses how this pink dress lures you into the painting. And along with the other colors that are used, it unifies the painting in such a way. So then she also talks about the use of the different colors and the value of the colors. Thereafter, it follows into how she discusses movement and the use of line by the artist, and then how the artist uses proportion and scale. And lastly, she becomes a bit of a Sherlock Holmes by deducing from the clothing that she sees what period this painting depicts. So she says the 1900s, but I think she means the 19th century, because that would make it in the 1800s, because you can see from the clothing that they wear, especially that woman in that beautiful pink dress, that she's wearing a corset. And those type of corsets were worn during the Victorian age, which were from around 1820 to 1901. So it's roughly from the 1800s or the 19th century. The only critique I have is that it ends a little bit on a cliffhanger. I need a little bit of a conclusion that is missing. But I do have to mention that this question has been answered with a time constraint, and that means that the student didn't have time, like you would with an assignment, to go and proofread. It's not typed and you can go back and reorganize paragraphs, etc. So because of that time constraint, it obviously limits how you can answer and how much time you have to answer the question. And that's probably why she didn't include a conclusion. So just keep that in mind when you answer your questions in the future, that you have just even if it's just one sentence, just a small thing to bind it all together. Okay, so let me begin with her essay. With this artwork, I see the whole scene as people at an evening dance or ball. It's taking place at night and is situated in an indoor space. You can see that there are lights in the background which contribute to the fact that it's night time. The first thing that attracts my eye is the color of the woman's dress in the foreground. It's a mixture, a bit of tint and shading of pink. This color somehow leads my eye to the woman who dances in the middle ground. Not only is it the color that leads my eye, but also how the woman with the pink dress is positioned with her body and head. The woman she's looking at has red socks on, which is also attracting my eye. The red of her socks and the way she is positioned then points to the man in the background, who also has red on, but with a bit of shade to it. The way this man is positioned leads to another man with an even darker shade of red, an almost maroon jacket. So in conclusion, with the red being used both with tint, the pink dress, and shading from the pink to maroon, shows some sort of movement being performed by the viewer's eye. Light and shadow can be seen by the use of color as well. The other colors are that of browns and greens, which are used a lot, and also the little bit of color seen from the lights, an orange. These are mostly analogous colors. Most of these colors are cool colors as well. In the painting, the lights causes shadows on some faces in the background. For example, some of the faces are darker as opposed to those in the foreground. When it comes to the movement, the majority of the people are standing still. This effect is being created by using lines that are vertical. The lines aren't lines as well due to the fact that humans are more of a natural form. So the painter made the lines softer on each person's body and clothes. However, the two people dancing, the diagonal lines are being used to show that they are moving. The lines break away from the vertical lines that suggests no movement. The proportions of every person is a normalized size. I would say natural, or yes, I would go for natural. As you look at the people in the background, they do seem smaller as opposed to the ones in the foreground, but that is natural. If you look at something that's far, it would seem smaller. The proportion follows the natural laws of a human. It goes the same in terms of the scale. The sizes of body parts are all in proportion to one another. There isn't an exaggeration, for example, the head on one person. Once again, the use of mostly analogous colors unifies everything, but also creates some sort of pattern. The placement of everyone contributes to show the space of the indoor facility. It might be a small space due to the fact that everyone in the background is close together, so it might also indicate the fact that there is a lot of people and that it's a big event. However, there is a big opening, I would say space, in the foreground that might show the total opposite of what was mentioned above. With the painting as a whole, the era is of around the 19th century. If you look at the woman in the pink dress, she has feathers on her dress, which shows that she could possibly be of a higher, wealthy class, as opposed to the dancing woman who has boots on and her dress is a dull color. The lady in the pink dress also has a hat on with a lot of detail on, which contributes to this image. What a beautiful way to answer this question.